Good evening, everyone. As everyone by now knows, my YouTube gimmick and everything that I use for the most part, this is, of course, being recorded for my backup or rather my secondary YouTube channel. And this is just a little, basically off the topic type of vlog I want to do. Just give my honest overall opinion and evaluation on things in the world going on right now. A bit of my opinion, politically speaking. As you know by now, when it comes to religious viewpoints, I'm not a religious person. As I've said in the past, I very much follow the teachings of adapting or trying to listen to many different people's opinions on things. I believe in the logical perspective, trying to be peaceful at the end of the day and just use logic. Basically, sound logic and look at things from more of a scientific perspective. And I try to base basically everything in life for myself personally on logic when it comes down to it. But with the way things are in the world today, sadly, many and most people do not think, unfortunately, logically nowadays. And this goes to all viewpoints of the spectrum, whether it be the left or the right. Now, as I've said before in past vlogs, politically speaking, I consider myself to be a moderate, a centrist, overall. Overall, though, what is my opinion on, well, politics in America today? Honestly, I think things have gone way out of control in general, in my opinion. Like, people have completely lost their minds. One of the big problems is the fact we have only a two-party system nowadays. This is one of the biggest flaws, I think, in our entire system as a whole. We need to get out of this mindset of a two-party system. Either every election, Republican this, Democrat that, blah, blah, blah. I'm sick of both major parties, honestly. Now, personally, what's my perspective on things? Well, I'll say one thing, and that is my family is personally very divided. Or rather, I should say one side of my family, because the other side of my family I never knew. But either pretty much blue dog Democrat / conservative Democrat, or more I would say moderate Republican is the family I came from, for the most part. Very religious family. I would say I'm definitely overall more liberal than most of my family, hands down. At least when it comes to the social issues. I definitely consider myself much more on the left. When it comes to, however, taxes, economic affairs, and things of that nature, I'm very much more of, I guess you could say, I lean more towards conservative on those aspects. I believe in free markets. I believe in capitalism. However, I do not believe that only a wealthy, like everything should be strictly, basically either completely corrupt, where everything, the entire system, is strictly in the hands and manipulated for strictly the wealthy elites. I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I don't support taxing people to death. Besides, the problem is, it doesn't matter how much, like, I'll say quickly about progressives and stuff. It doesn't matter. You want to talk about taxing the wealthy, the billionaires and stuff to death. And who are most of the progressives looking up towards? People like AOC, Alexandria Cortez, and Bernie Sanders, which are interesting given both are millionaires. I mean, Cortez lives in like $1 million house, takes vacation down to, funny enough, Florida, which she bashes, and with her boyfriend or whatever, and of course doesn't wear a mask, so makes her a complete hypocrite. What a surprise! A politician, what do you expect? And Sanders is a multi-millionaire who inherited all his money. He didn't really work a real job a day in his life. He doesn't know how the average American feels or survives. And I could say the same thing about the Dear Progressive YouTube group that call themselves the Young Turks. They wouldn't know the first thing about the average American either. They live in California, which is a world unto itself. And by the way, in general, if you ask me whose side of the aisle am I Republican, Democrat? I'll already say this again. If you didn't already hear me in the beginning, as I said, I'm tired of this two-party system. I don't support a two-party system anymore. I'm sick of Republican this, Democrat that. Or as Jesse Ventura once upon a time said, Republicans and Democrats. Um, I consider myself, well, technically, I'm a independent, if you will, but politically, I tend to lean much more towards the viewpoint of libertarian, which makes sense. I mean, when it comes to a lot of the physical stuff and areas of taxes, I'm very much more conservative, as I said. But socially, I tend to lean more liberal on those areas. With that said, I think there's a lot of issues we have today with the system as a whole that really needs fixed. And I would say a couple of people I personally have a lot of respect for and I've listened to. I may disagree with them on a few things here and there, but a few people I highly recommend checking out some work by people such as Gary Johnson, former Libertarian presidential candidate and former governor of New Mexico, as well as, of course, one of my personal favorite political heroes, Ron Paul. I am a big Uber supporter and backer of people like Ron Paul. Heck, in the last election, in the primaries, I was actually a big fan of a few specific Democrat candidates that were running. One specific, which I think got robbed in many different cases, and I thought she should have done better. Unfortunately, she basically got ignored, as well as Yang as well, and I think he makes a lot of sense on many different areas. But when it comes down to it, I am personally a big backer of a flat tax, which is the opinion of many libertarian viewpoints. I think flat taxes make a lot more sense, like have a flat, maybe what I agree with some people, which is have something like a flat 25% tax on everything. People will be like, 25% tax, that's an insane amount of money. May sound expensive, but it's more based on the more money you spend to the more money you pay in taxes. And with a flat tax, you can have it set to make sure there's no loopholes like there is in the regular tax system today. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people like Bernie Sanders and the AOC and progressives or standard Democrats and stuff understand is there's always loopholes in the tax system. There's always a loophole. Giant corporations like McDonald's and many things have always found loopholes around like healthcare and all of that. They will always find loopholes because they have armies of lawyers. You will never be able to defeat a giant, massive, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate like McDonald's, which came into being thanks mostly to somebody called Crockett. But anyways, get ready to cut this little bit of vlog, but I wanted to give basically a vlog, some of my personal opinions on things. But yeah, I'm tired of the the Uber like progressives and stuff. I'm tired of them trying to push their opinions on everyone else who disagrees with them. Guess what? We have something here in America called First Amendment, the right to free speech, which means I have the right to say something, and you have the right to insult me, even if you make completely illogical debate and have no real actual evidence to back up your claims on anything, such as many other topics, which I may discuss in future vlogs like this. But some of the very basics in the future, if you want me to do a more in-depth vlog into my personal opinions, or rather libertarian viewpoint on things. But like I say, I do support a flat tax of like 25%. I think it makes plenty of sense, and it would drastically force us to have to decrease our spending because federal spending is out of control. We need to drastically cut back on the size of government. We need to drastically cut the military budget big time. We need to basically shut down all of our foreign bases outside North America. We have no business being in the Middle East in the first place. Shut it down, let all the neighboring countries there deal with each other. And if somebody like Europe is worried, like the European Union, let the EU deal with that stuff. But we shouldn't even be there, like Ron Paul and Gary Johnson and many other libertarians, and former Democrat slash libertarian Dennis Kucinich, of course, former congressman of neighboring state Ohio. As I've said before, we need more logical stuff in place. Like, we need more common sense people running for office. Like, at local level, it's going to be hard at the federal level, mostly because it takes nowadays, unfortunately, a lot of big money to get in office, and they've got so many laws now put in place, both Republicans and Democrats have done together to make sure it remains between those two only parties. Unfortunately, it's rare to see a third party person ever gain power. It's unfortunate. I mean, I live in a state which has, for many, many years, been only Democrat. And it's just been the last, like, basically 30 years, all of a sudden, especially the last 20 years, has become predominantly Republican. It's kind of weird. But, like, I understand there's quite a few people I know at the local levels in the state that are genuinely either independent or libertarian in their viewpoints, but they run as usually Republican, or if they have to, Democrat, and they run as one of the two parties because they realize they don't stand a chance of getting into office unless they end up one of those two. Which is why people like Ron Paul suggested for libertarians to get in the Republican Democrat parties and try to change them from the inside. Unfortunately, it's a lot easier said than done, though I think Ron Paul very much makes 100% sense on that, as well as Gary Johnson and many other people. And even at one time or on some topics, still on occasion, I would say even Jesse Ventura on occasion can still make some sense. But with that said, I want everyone to stay safe out there. No matter what side of the aisle you are politically, if you want to leave a comment, let's try to at least remain somewhat civil. Please, I would appreciate it. We can have a civilized debate. We don't need to be like pure evil. Like, some people on the left and right, I hear a lot on the mainstream media. Um, but with that said, I'll see y'all next time. And like I said, give me a comment if there's any specific political topic or anything you be curious. Because, like, I've done quite a bit of reading up and history over the last many years on many different topics, including looking at some of the basic economics over the past 100 years in America, and a lot of the mistakes made by the mainstream, definitely outlets politically, as well as how much ridiculous power that the banking institutions have on the formation of basically the Federal Reserve and the demolishment, thanks to Nixon, of course, the gold standard, which are many of the most stupid economic decisions you can make. I personally am a big supporter of people investing their money in gold and silver as well as in cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel, and just stay safe out there with all the craziness and insane people on all sides of the aisle right now. Because November is midterms, and boy, people are just going to get more psycho by the day. See you again soon enough.